Before we get into the neural sim, let's just have this announcement from the devs. But basically, they're gonna postpone the next patch indefinitely. They're just adding, a few event modes, and then they're just gonna give out, some gems daily, until they announce the next patch. Now, I kind of don't want to go into theories as to why they have to delay it. I'll probably just wait and see on what they're gonna do next. Anyway, here's the neural simulation run for this week. And we have the Chenxing team against this boss because I don't have me a Star Chaser built. And so far, I think those are the only two teams against this boss. Like, yes, you can use the other teams, but, the runtime might be a little bit slower. But yeah, it's doable, for sure. And yes, we do have Yao Nightglow because she's kinda better against this boss.
My memories, let my arrows rain. I've foreseen your inevitable end.
So yeah, that's the fastest that I can do for now.
Then, would you mind stepping a little closer?
And here's the Longyan team because why not? Since she is, the rate of banner.
Do keep going,
Just so there are times that the skill or the ult, sometimes miss a hit. So the damage overall will be reduced. So you really need to check if there are damage numbers there. Especially the last hit. Aside from the boss going invulnerable, of course. Also, don't dodge as much because we have a debuff this week. It's kind of fine here because it's invulnerable. Also gotta check like the support skill. Sometimes it runs out.
Not a single one will slip past me.
And like I said, other teams are doable against this boss. It's just that the runtime might be a little bit longer. Yeah, like this one is like 15 seconds longer, but this is with, Aquila, and surprisingly, she was faster than, Vija Celestial Swap by at least 2 seconds. I find it a bit weird because this boss has a lot of thermal rest, and we just still kinda lose by 2 seconds, at least with what I have. And since Vija is with Chenxing, then, my only team for this is Longyan, since my gacha with Aquila is not really great, with my current investment. And you can either ult in here at this pace or ult later, but it's up to you. I just find it easier to ult later because there's, less interruptions. And I don't really need a second ult to actually defeat it, with what I have. This is why I just save it for this, So it's basically just swapping the, skill and charge attack for the ult for this phase.
This is starting to get fun.
And here's the buff for this week. We gain an attack buff after using an ultimate. And again, this boss has a thermal resistance for this week. And another one in here, so that's why I'm kind of surprised that Vijay is not far better than the Aquila with, the Longyan team. And here's the values. And here's Aquila, which I still think can be used to any team, even without her signature, because every part of her kit, even her logistics, can buff any unit. And this is almost M2, and this is General Rest Red, which again, good for any unit. But she does compete with Vidya on that global support spot. And that's about it.